Somebody touch my spaghetti.
It's not a bird, it's not a plane, it's Superhero Slate. It's a modern podcast where we talk about everything that's great, like movies, TV, superheroes. It's Superhero Slate. Oh yeah.
Hello everyone and welcome to Superhero Slate, the show where we run down the latest superhero entertainment news.
We love TV, movies, and superheroes, so let's talk it all out.
My name is Chris Dillard.
And my name's Mike Royer.
And this week, the Flashpoint movie gets its directors.
All right.
Venom may have a surprise for us after all.
Okay, I was going to do like a thwip Spider-Man sound effect, but I was like, I don't know what sound Venom makes, so I was like, smush, smush, like slime? I don't know.
Thwap? Something close. We're ready to get Solo, a Star Wars story.
Or go solo, or riding solo, you know, whatever.
Mike, you're not the writer here. I am, and more.
Yeah.
So this week I've changed Mike out for a little horse.
Yeah.
So we're gonna have a new guest this week. What's your name, little buddy?
Yeah. Oh, I'm a little pony. After all, I'm a little horse. But yeah, I was out homesick a lot last week. Which the novelty of being out of the office and being shacked up on the couch runs out pretty quickly. I would say after about 2 days. But I had an opportunity to watch a lot of backlog stuff that I knew I wanted to watch for a long time. So I had a chance, first off, to watch Fate of the Furious, which I did not enjoy. I understand that there's a low bar for those Fast and Furious movies now, but I think in order to really enjoy those movies, I would need to be in a room with other people, just kind of like razzing the movie a little bit. But I couldn't have a good time watching it. But I don't really hold it up on a pedestal. But after that, I finally had a chance to watch Split. Have you seen Split?
I did. I watched it right after it hit, I think, DVD last year.
Yeah, so that was actually really amazing. I watched it for a couple reasons. One, I heard it was great, so I kind of wanted to see M. Night Shyamalan come back into the fold. Two, I heard it was kind of, I don't want to spoil anything, but I heard it was connected to one of his other movies. And it kind of felt like supernatural, superhero-ish. So I was like, I want to check that, off the list. But also, I've found myself kind of gravitating more towards kind of like scary, intense movies lately. I don't know if I would necessarily call it a palate cleanser, but it's kind of nice to go kind of outside of your comfort zone from what we're used to watching it. Like I pretty much only watch like superhero action adventure movies. Those are the ones I go out of my way to watch in the theater. So I kind of like, going outside of that zone, especially since a lot of these horror directors end up making these big budget action superhero movies. So I've had a really good time. Like a week or so ago, I watched It, the new one, and that was great. I watched Split. I watched Unbreakable as well because that's just an M. Night Shyamalan movie that I never got around to seeing. So we talked about it a little bit through a text message through the week, and I totally agree with you. The movie, I don't think it aged well, especially with all of the kind of superhero movies that came out after Unbreakable. But if you kind of like sit that movie in its time period, I think it kind of fits a little bit. There's kind of some bizarre editing. I don't know if Unbreakable actually follows like a 3-act structure. Kind of just seems to be like an odd kind of storytelling. There's some scenes that just kind of end by literally fading to black, which I haven't seen before in a movie in a really long time. It felt very old school. And it had a very abrupt ending, I would say. Like it wasn't the most twisty twist that M. Night Shyamalan has ever done, but I guess there was kind of a twist at the end. So it was an interesting experience, but I don't regret watching it. So
before you go into some other stuff you watched, the main actress in Split, Anna Taylor-Joy. I think that's her name. She is Magic in New Mutants, the New Mutants movie that's coming out.
Oh, is that she's blonde in that, right?
Yeah, she's blonde in that. Which
okay.
I think, having seen her in Split, which was my first introduction to her, she's gonna play a hell of a good Magic in Mutants.
And damn, James McAvoy, he was a treasure watching in that movie. He is a treat. I think James McAvoy is kind of gonna be maybe a little bit like a Brad Pitt or like a George Clooney or a Tom Cruise for other people out there. You know, like you don't care what the movie is, if he's in it, you're gonna go see it. So bravo James McAvoy for that performance. But the number one new hotness in the Royer household, Chris, I don't think you're going to be able to guess, so I'm not even going to have you try, is our number one new addiction is Riverdale. We've been calling it Archie After Dark. It's not your father's Archie. If you're unaware out there, it's basically kind of like the teenage drama version of the cheesy kind of poppy Archie comic, kind of re-envisioned. It's no Breaking Bad. I'm not trying to compare it to some sort of like a prestige drama out there, but it has just the right amount of like mystery and drama and just like teenage angst mixed in there, mixed in with some of these like funny like Archie things that just can't quite go dark no matter how much you do it. Like this whole town of Riverdale is kind of built on like a maple syrup empire. So when there's like drama and like a murder mystery and then they try to be serious about maple syrup, it's kind of funny, but it's just like the right amount of drama. There's always like a huge cliffhanger at the end of every episode. Like all of these kids that are playing high school kids are just like super like dreamy. They all got like 8-pack abs and it's just like, it's just ridiculous. But I would recommend it. They're airing the second season right now. The first season is on Netflix. It's about 13 episodes. I would dare to say just give yourself one episode and you'll be hooked. So I know we don't usually talk about this kind of stuff on the show, but damn, I was surprised that Riverdale got its hooks into me like that.
Well, I mean, much like most of our superheroes started in comics, Archie is in comic books, so I'll allow it on the show. Archie's gone weird lately in the comics. Like there's Archie, there's like a Walking Dead version of Archie where like the town's attacked by zombies and everyone turns to zombies. Archie versus Predator, I think, is another one.
Oh my god, that's amazing.
They've got some weird comics out there featuring Archie. So this version, I've heard good things as well. It's not for me. But I keep hearing everything about Jughead Jones. Like that's one of the twins from that showed Sweet Life with Zach and Cody. So
he is. He's all grown up. He's all angsty and emo, and he's kind of like an outsider. He usually narrates the beginning and the end of every episode. He's my spirit animal in the show. I connect. I feel Jughead's high school pain. So it's just I can't recommend it enough, which is kind of bizarre, but I had to onboard myself because I know that they're making that Sabrina Teenage Witch new reboot, dark reboot on Netflix. So I kind of wanted to prepare myself, get myself in the right mindset for that, coming out of the same studio, same people and everything. So I'm looking forward to that, Chris.
So you've been on Netflix this week.
Yeah, I've been on Oh, and I watched, I forgot about the other thing that I watched too. Were you going to bring that up?
Yeah, I was going to say, so you watched the movie Bright, huh?
Oh, God. Hot garbage. Bright.
What exactly is a Bright?
So a Bright is actually a name of a person who can pick up a wand. Because if you're not a Bright and you pick up a wand, you explode. It literally kills you. So this...
Is Will Smith a Bright?
Bright at the very highest level has a really genius concept. I really love the idea of mixing these fantasy elements in with the real world and kind of seeing how these two things coalesce. It's almost kind of the same storyline of District 9 if you think about it, you know. You have these otherworldly things trying to mix with humans, and instead of just like everybody freaking out and trying to kill each other, they're actually trying to live side by side. But there's some fatal flaws in that story structure where I thought, just based on the trailers, that maybe all of these fantasy orcs and stuff just kind of show up out of nowhere, maybe within the last like 100 years, 200 years. But no, they make it very apparent that there was battles going on between orcs and humans like back 2,000 years ago. They talked about, oh, my ancestors fought orcs and stuff like that. So it doesn't make any sense, because if you kind of look at like, they make references to like Shrek and other types of pop culture things that, you know, if history would have played out with orcs 2,000 years ago, you wouldn't have the same things that you have now. So and it's just kind of weird. Like, so that whole high level story didn't really work well with me. and then the writing is just really bad. Like when we reviewed Suicide Squad, another David Ayer film, I think we tried our best to give him the benefit of the doubt because we kind of wondered how much Warner Brothers got their hands on his movie and re-edited it and made it something that he didn't want. But after watching his Netflix movie, which I would assume he had very much control over, because usually Netflix is really good at that, I believe David Ayer wrote this movie. I'm not 100% sure, but I know for sure he directed it, and it is bad. Like, every category of the movie is bad. I mean, the special effects were all right, so I don't think I can give him the benefit of the doubt anymore with Suicide Squad. I think even if he had full control over it, he just would have had another Bright, so... But apparently people watched it because it's getting that sequel. But, yeah, I did not like it. I mean, Will Smith and, what is it, Joel Edgerton? The guy who plays the orc.
Yeah.
I mean, they kind of end up being a little buddy cop by the end of the movie, and it doesn't feel as awkward. So, I don't know, maybe the sequel can hit the ground running a little bit better. But, I mean, I guess since I don't have to buy a ticket, maybe I'll watch it, but yeah, don't waste your time. Don't push other stuff out of the way in your life to go watch Bright. Wait until you're sick like I am or something to watch
I knew it was written by Max Landis, actually, who did Chronicle.
Oh my God, Max Landis. He is...
he's hit or miss.
He's crazy, yeah, so I could see it being hit or miss.
So I've not seen Bright. I wasn't going to. Even my boss at my job... Not a big movie guy, but he was like, I needed to watch some action movie while I was working out to keep my heart rate up. He's like, Bright didn't even do it for me. So,
oh man.
So, coming from all around, I've not heard good things. So, so that's that. Speaking of, I'm just gonna I'm gonna jump in the news here. We've been talking for a little bit, but I had my company end of the year party this month, and I spent 13 hours this week editing an 18-minute blooper reel for everybody.
Wow, look at you working hard, buddy.
Yeah, that was after outside of normal work hours as well. It took a long time, but I have to tell you, it's fun to have that much dirt on everybody I work with, but also B, seeing everybody on Saturday night watch it. Everybody was cutting up. It received a huge applause. Like, it makes all the little videos and all the patience in between each one so much worth it in the end. So
that's always really nice when you're in any sort of creative field. Usually you're stuck behind the curtain, behind a computer, and you hardly ever get to see your stuff reacted to in real time. So yeah, whenever you get a chance to show creative work in front of an audience and you get a reception, that high is too hard to quit. So I think that's what brings a lot of people back to the table to do more work. So I'm glad you got to experience that.
Yeah, it's the second one we've done. The first one was like maybe 9 minutes, so doubling it to 18 was huge. So I had a good time. I'll be putting it on my Facebook probably later this week once I edit out all the curse words for public consumption. So there's that. But we're not here to talk about us, Mike, or bad/good things we've seen on Netflix. We're here to talk about superhero news. And first and foremost, I've got probably something that flew under the radar for probably most people, but we have Flashpoint news here, Mike.
Oh, wow.
That they have finally hired directors, again, for the Flashpoint movie. I think Phil Lord and Chris Miller were first directed to the Flash movie, then possibly Robert Zemeckis, and now we have confirmation with John Francis Daley and Jonathan Goldstein as the directors.
Oh, man. I like how you said Zemeckis. It's almost like you have a pet name. I think it's Zemeckis, but I like Zemeckis way better.
It's whatever, really. I'm glad that's what you took out of the news here, Mike, how I said someone's last name. But Jonathan Francis Daley and Jonathan Goldstein were two of the writers of Spider-Man Homecoming, which I know was your favorite movie this year.
Yeah.
Which also made me think, you've watched the Flash TV show pretty regularly in your house, and I know when I started watching the Flash, I'm like, oh, the Flash TV show feels like Sam Raimi's Spider-Man movies, with the narration and instead of swinging through the city, he's speeding through the city, saving people, living the life as a regular person with a job, but also being a superhero at the same time and trying to cover that up. So I think this might be a really good choice, Mike. What do you think when you hear this?
Yeah, I guess it just kind of... I was thinking about this the other day. So these are, I guess, writers moving over to the director side of things. And I've always wondered what's the best way to do it? Is that what makes the best filmmaker, going from writing to directing, or is it a little easier for someone that's known as a director to write something? So I think it's always interesting to see that type of transition. So I mean, like you said, I love Spider-Man: Homecoming. At least I know whether the movie is directed well or not, at least they will be able to really look over whatever script is penned and just know what works and what doesn't. So, but really a director is almost more like a captain of a ship, the cinematographer will figure out the shots, they'll look over the script that's given to them and figure it out. So I'm crossing my fingers, and I'm hoping it's going to turn out well, because like you said, we watch Flash in this household. I love that hero. I don't know if this is a non-starter. I hope Flashpoint kind of just resets this whole Warner Brothers universe and we can kind of start from fresh. But I want a big budget Flash on the screen. I want to see these big action set pieces with high speed. On the other end of that, like slow motion.
Well,
so
not only that, Flashpoint is a huge story where time is reset. They can play with times. They can play with alternate versions of Batman and Wonder Woman and Superman and so on and so forth. So it's really an interesting story that I think can showcase more of the Flash's ability other than just running really fast. So,
yeah.
I'm looking forward to it. Also, I mean, I always forget this, but John Francis Daley, he's an actor as well. He was in Freaks and Geeks, is where he got his start in.
Yeah, I was going to say, because when this news broke, I saw some, I guess, screenshots and pictures of the directors, and I was like, why does that guy look really familiar? And I was like, I've seen him on screen before. Is he also a writer-director? So I guess if he's an actor too, it sounds like maybe he could be a triple threat. So maybe we trust him to make a decent Flashpoint movie.
Yeah. Did you see the new Vacation movie at all?
Oh God, no, Chris.
Okay, well, that's his last movie that he directed before this year's game night.
Oh no! I feel like we should have started out with that before he started.
It's fine,
geeking
but
out.
I mean, there's better things on his thing than that. So I just want to put that out there. So
well, also it's a pair too. I think when you get two people directing a movie, usually it turns out pretty well. I mean, look at the Russo brothers; they're kicking ass.
Yeah. So I agree. But also a fun point about Flashpoint is Ben Affleck was approached to direct Flashpoint as recently as last week, even.
Oh my God! I feel like Warner Brothers literally goes up to him for everything. Like, Ben, we need someone to clean out the bathroom. Are you up for it? Like, no, I'm not up for it. What about directing a movie? No, I don't think I want to do that either. Just stay on the studio. We don't want to lose you, Ben.
Yeah, they're pretty much like, hey, dude, we'll give you some high-paying jobs if you stay with us for a little bit longer.
Yeah.
And no. So, Flashpoint now has some directors. Good to know. Justice League, probably one of the lowest rated superhero movies of 2017, will hit digital on February 13th and Blu-ray DVD a month later on March 13th. So, if you want to revisit that on Valentine's Day, make it super sensual.
No, thanks, bro. I'll be excited for Black Panther when Valentine's Day rolls around.
It's true. So, yeah. But there's that. But also, we've got some look at the box art here. So we got a scene from the box, or at least one portion here, a still from the movie in the Blu-ray box art. And they have, in post-production or in editing and photo editing, have brightened the hell up out of this movie. Yeah,
they did.
So Wonder Woman went from her dull kind of, Zack Snyder looking thing to what I would say more akin to something you'd see in the Avengers, to be honest. And that's not a bad thing or a good thing either way, but they're definitely trying to push the colors for that home release.
Yeah, they want that mental connection of like, hey, you remember when you liked watching the Wonder Woman movie? Hey, she's also in this movie, so you should buy it.
Yeah, and the other characters have it as well, but they didn't have any movie stills to pull from that for that. So I see Superman over there to the right, so he's going to be a little bit more. Fun fact, I guess, quote unquote fun, the one extra scene is being added to Justice League as of right now, one scene called The Return of Superman. And this is on the box. So my assumption is The Return of Superman is where he goes and gets the suit from Batman's place. Because that trailer, they're like, oh, I knew you'd come kind of thing.
Okay.
Because I don't know what else the Return of Superman scene would be.
Yeah. Is this the long awaited Snyder cut, the one extra scene?
Well, no, actually, they are not releasing any. It's not called any other director's cut, extended cut, nothing like that. There will also be no other deleted or extended scenes on the release mic.
I feel like they almost doubled down and said, hey, screw you guys. There's no Snyder cut. We're going to give you one extra scene. Stop bitching.
Exactly, and the fact that there's not even any other deleted scenes, like some of those are fun to go through. They've nixed it all for at least now. Maybe they're trying to get some more money in the long run and release a different version later, but that's what we got right now. So
yeah, I bet it's a little too messy to figure out what's a deleted scene and what's a scene that was part of a different version of the movie, and it's just going to be confusing if we add it. So they're probably just like, nope, just wash our hands of it.
Yeah,
not gonna deal with all that.
Again, we did the Batman v Superman extended edition, whatever, Ultimate Edition, I think is what it was. And it moved some stuff around and it did fill some stuff in, but overall, I feel these extra editions just convolute the continuity a little more. And this may be a decision by the new showrunners at WB. They've been like, nope, we're not doing it. Just give the regular one out. So we'll play that by ear, see what that happens. You're excited about Wonder Woman 2? A lot of people are.
Yeah, why not, man?
It's on one of my DC seems to be on a roll with this movie kind of thing. So, Wonder Woman 2, they just announced, will be the first film to adapt the Producer Guild of America's new sexual harassment policy to try to stamp out all the bastards in the industry.
Good.
So,
I like to hear that.
The only thing that worries me is, like, why do we have to wait for Wonder Woman 2 for this to do it? But, whatever. As long as steps are being made, I think that's a good thing.
Patty Jenkins is going to be walking around on set, stomping on necks. Be like, don't be a jerk, or I'm going to step these heels right through your throat.
They're going to give her a real sword from Wonder Woman and just be like, instead of the God Killer, it's going to be called, like, the Sexual Harassment Killer. And just swing it around. So, if you're working on Wonder Woman 2, be careful.
Yeah, behave yourselves.
Yeah. Or you'll be beheaded. I'll leave it alone. But DC is doubling down on women-led movies due to the popularity of Harley Quinn. And speaking of David Ayer, his Gotham City Sirens movie has apparently been killed off at WB. So,
not surprised. I knew when they announced all of these movies a couple months ago that they weren't set in stone. So here you go, proof is in the pudding.
Was this one on that list though? I don't remember this one being on that list.
It was on a list at some point in time. That's all that matters.
Yeah, David Ayer has been very insistent that this is coming. They're not going to do it because they literally have 3 other movies with Harley Quinn in the works. And they're going to focus on those instead. With Suicide Squad 2, of course. The Birds of Prey movie, written by Christina Hodson. I don't know who that is. And the Joker versus Harley Quinn movie, which has writers, Glenn Ficarra and John Requa. So,
we'll see.
Yeah. Again, there's new heads at WB. We don't know what other things are going to be axed. But they sounds like, to me, David Ayer, 2 bad movies in a row ain't helping him out. So
doesn't it always just seem like executives at these movie studios are always just taking the most obvious approach? It's just kind of like, hey, Suicide Squad came out. It was a bad movie, but everyone's talking about Margot Robbie, so the only logical conclusion is just make a bunch of Margot Robbie movies, right? It's just like, no, maybe that's not what you do. Maybe don't take the highlight out of your garbage dump and make a movie out of it. Maybe just make a better movie, and then it won't matter who's in it. It doesn't matter if you have Margot Robbie in it or not. So I don't know why it always just seems like so obvious. Like, maybe think about it a little bit more critically before you make a bunch of Margot Robbie movies.
So my assumption is that working in the comic book store every week, you would not believe the amount of Harley Quinn merchandise it sells. Like, wow. You put it out, it moves. Like, there's no ifs, ands, or buts. You get 4 different versions of a Harley Quinn action figure gone.
I mean, I don't want to sound pretentious at all, but even if the Margot Robbie Harley Quinn like hot toy or sideshow collectible or pop vinyl or whatever was like the coolest crafted thing ever and it looked super movie accurate, I still wouldn't want it because every time I look at it, I would just think about how shitty Suicide Squad was. Like, I don't want a collectible from a movie I don't like, even if it looks awesome. So I don't know, but I guess other people out there just don't care.
It's not everyone hates this movie. Like, this movie made a lot. It's the 3rd highest DC movie out there. Wonder Woman's number 1. I guess worldwide, it's Dawn of Justice, Wonder Woman, then Suicide Squad. So for them, it's a very, very lucrative franchise. But I mean, people will defend it, and you can lead a horse to water, but you can't make him drink, Mike. So
you're right, man.
We know better. Are you watching Legends of Tomorrow still? Actually,
no, I am not.
Okay, I didn't know. There's a lot of DC shows coming on, out there right now. But apparently, on the Flash, the Kid Flash will be moving to Legends of Tomorrow's series regular.
Okay, well, I don't know if you're caught up with the Flash or not, but Kid Flash in the series is kind of, I don't want to say he's a guest star, but he kind of comes in and out of the show. Sometimes he's on an episode, sometimes he's not. I don't remember exactly if, like, whenever he leaves the show, like whenever he says, like, hey, I'm going out of town, I never assume he's gone forever. So I guess it makes sense that you might kind of hot swap him in. I mean, they kind of did that with Firestorm. Firestorm was a part of, I think, season 2, possibly.
I think season 1 of Flash, because at the end, that portal or something.
Oh, yeah, but then I thought that was a different Firestorm. I don't know. It's hard to keep track of all of these.
Well,
CW
the thing
shows.
is, Kid Flash, I think, is replacing Firestorm on Legends of Tomorrow, probably to reduce budget.
Yeah, maybe. So I feel like a Legends of Tomorrow is almost just kind of like the the youngest kid in the family. Like, you just get all the hand-me-downs. We can't use this character right now. We got too many. Here, just push him on Legends of Tomorrow for a little while. So.
Well, to me, Legends of Tomorrow is that big old farm upstate where you send all your pets to live when they're getting old. So
is Morgan from The Walking Dead also going to be joining Legends of Tomorrow?
Very well, maybe. We don't know. So Legends of Tomorrow is getting Kid Flash, so they'll have a speedster on there now. Black Lightning debuted this week on the CW as well, and you got a chance to watch that? My understanding is.
Yeah, we checked it out. I was very curious with that show to see how it was going to land, because I knew from the trailers that we have gotten that this was going to be like, oh, Black Lightning is actually going to be an older hero, and he was a hero in the past. So I was curious about that. So we gave it a watch, and actually it was really impressive. I would say it's like a solid, like, B+, A- pilot. I wasn't gushing at the end of it, but I was just like, hey, this is pretty good. And usually pilots are like that. Usually pilots don't knock it out of the park. It's not usually a home run. It's got to be just enough to get you to kind of keep with it. So yeah, I really liked it. I like a superhero show that doesn't have to harp on the origin story right away. There's kind of like an Alfred-esque character in this show that's kind of cool. That, he shows up and he's just like, oh, I remember, working with you in the past, and, I've been working on some stuff since we haven't been hanging out lately. So it's just like, oh, it's cool. So there's been stuff going on in the background in this place and time. It's a lot more edgier than some of the other CW shows. I mean, I don't want to say like, oh, there's teenagers in it, but there's teenagers in it that are like going to clubs, like smoking weed and stuff like that, and there's like gang members and stuff. So this is definitely a more harder hitting show. I would give it a shot and check it out. It's been pretty fun so far. They don't seem to be really dialing into any sort of formula that Arrow had in the beginning, where it was just like, oh, here's the present tense, and then we're going to flash back to the past. There hasn't been a whole lot of flashing back, so I don't think they're necessarily going to rely on that mechanism. But yeah, so far it was pretty cool. I don't remember the lead actor's name, but he was pretty badass. I like this kind of seasoned, gritty hero that's just like, I'm too old for this shit, but I gotta put the suit back on and kick some ass. So yeah, give Black Lightning a shot. It's pretty fun.
So, are you going to keep up with it weekly, or do you imagine you'll binge it, I guess is the question?
I think I might keep up with it weekly. I think I'll actually might slot in a brand new superhero show, which is something I haven't done in a while. So I think that gives it some credence.
Okay, cool. Yeah, I didn't know. I mean, I know a lot of people like to wait till it's over and binge them, and I didn't know if you felt like this was binge it or I won't, or I'll watch it weekly kind of thing. So that's good to know. So yeah, let's wrap up our DC news. We're gonna talk a little bit about Venom here. Surprisingly enough, we got some news on Venom that Peter Parker, the actor Tom Holland, will appear in Venom after all. Per John Schnepp, I think he's in the industry. I don't know. I just pulled his quote. But Tom Holland has been on set a few days already filming. I've reached out to the person I know who is working on Venom to see if there's any, if he has seen anything. I haven't had any confirmation back, but it's not supposed to be Spider-Man showing up. It's like a Peter Parker like cameo kind of thing.
Yeah, I mean, I would assume, like, I saw those headlines, earlier in the week, and I just instantly assumed it was a cameo. I mean, if this was going to be a Spider-Man Venom movie, we would have known it from day one, because that's how you really sell a Venom movie to people out there. They just had a kick-ass Spider-Man movie. You're not going to slow play Spider-Man's role in it if he's a big shot. And then, like you said, you specifically said Peter Parker. They didn't say Spider-Man, and they didn't say Tom Holland. They said Peter Parker. So I'm kind of curious, because I think the last time we talked about shooting locations for this movie, we brought up San Francisco, didn't we?
Yeah, the movie's supposed to be set in San Francisco as well.
So that makes me wonder if, eventually, Venom's going to make his way to New York City, I would assume. So maybe that happens, and after credit scene, he gets on a plane, flies to New York, gets off at LaGuardia, and maybe like Tom Holland's just hanging out somewhere in Brooklyn, drive by him in a cab. I don't know, but yeah, I can't imagine it's going to be very intense. I don't think Spidey's going to be fighting Venom.
Yeah, I don't think so either. I think they'll have a lot on their hands, because this deleted Instagram post from Tom Hardy may confirm that Carnage is the big bad in this movie.
Yeah, and like you say, deleted Instagram pictures or deleted anything on social media is basically guilt.
Yeah, like, you're more like, it looks like some fan art of Tom Hardy with the Venom symbiote like on his chest and then the Carnage in the background. But and he posted it. If it was just fan art and he left it, that'd be like, yeah, that's just fan art, man. This isn't real. But when you delete it, you're like, oh, there's probably something there.
Trying to hide something.
Yeah. So, that's...
I can't... So, I wanted to ask you about Carnage here. I can't decide if this is a good storytelling idea or a bad storytelling idea, because we really haven't had a good, honest version of Carnage / the symbiote out in theaters yet. Spider-Man 3, that wasn't really working on any level, so I don't think we can say that worked. So if you're introducing an audience to a symbiote for the first time, whether it's alien or whether it's created in a lab for medical purposes, do you just stick to Venom and you teach people, how that works, and maybe he's fighting a super-powered bad guy that's not a symbiote, or do you also just loop Carnage in there and be like, let's just get them both out there, we already dealing with one symbiote, it's basically the same thing with a different color, and we have them fight. So I don't know if it's a good idea or bad idea. Like, is it too much symbiote all at once, or just give it to them all, they'll figure it out?
I think you go all in. I think this movie is about symbiotes because it involves the Lethal Protector storyline, where they take the Venom symbiote and try to weaponize it, and they get like 5 different versions from it. And this idea in my head, if they want to go stupid, is those 5 versions will merge and form this Carnage beast at the end, kind of thing. Maybe. But I think you go all in. I think you got it. But Carnage could also be a long game thing. He doesn't have to die at the end of it either. He could get away. Then like Carnage is the long game where they have to team up with Spider-Man to take down Carnage later, if they wanted to do that. Yeah,
I guess it could be.
I think it's a long game, but I think if you get him in there, I think you just go for it. I mean, if you're gonna go in with a Venom movie, give them all of it. So, because you don't have Spider-Man, cool. You don't have Spider-Man to play off of. That's what I think.
Yeah, I just hope it looks cool, man. Well, I mean, I guess we won't really be seeing any web slinging, right? Because, correct me if I'm wrong, but the Venom symbiote doesn't learn how to web sling until it has fused itself with Spider-Man at some point in time. It's just not going to inherently web sling.
It's hard to tell because Venom was introduced as the symbiote suit on Spider-Man. But I assume that's probably... I mean, you're probably right, unless
there's some sort of weird scene where like where the symbiote is just chilling out on a recliner watching like TV, and it sees Spider-Man and goes like, "Oh, Spider-Man on the TV web slings. I can do that now." I think that'd be kind of... That's almost like... It's like Apocalypse in that X-Men Apocalypse movie where he's like watching TV and he's like learning.
Yeah, I mean, they could be one of those... If Venom suit is like, again, like a medical thing on them, and like, oh, let's see what you can do, and he's learning abilities, I guess. I don't know. We don't know. We can speculate all day long, but we won't know until they show us. Yep. So, Venom, we might see something sooner than later. I think it's supposed to come out in October. So, we'll knock on wood. But speaking of Spider-Man, the Homecoming sequel might be casting a femme fatale lead in this upcoming one. So, they're looking for a European woman in her 20s to probably maybe be the villain in this one.
All right. Who do we think that might be, villain-wise?
There is the idea... not Black Cat, not Silver Sable. Those are in the Silver and Black movies. But I honestly don't know. I really don't know.
They could just gender bend also, too. Like, what is his name? Smythe, the scientist.
Alistair Smythe, the Spider Slayer.
I mean, there's no reason you can't gender bend that and make it a woman. I don't think anybody's too precious about Smythe. So, I mean, that would be kind of cool. I don't think anyone would expect that, so...
Yeah, I mean, that's it. I mean, kind of going through here, looking through the female leads, there is someone called Shriek, but I think she's a symbiote power. Felicia Hardy, Black Cat, Silver Sable. Most of these are men. So, I honestly don't know. But, like you said, they could gender bend it. I mean, it's Marvel, and they've established Spider-Man's okay, so I'm excited to see where it goes, even though we don't know.
Yeah,
it's probably not female Norman Osborn. That's probably for sure. So I'm down for this. We'll see where they take us here. Ant-Man and the Wasp gave us a new photo this week of Hope Van Dyne and Scott Lang in their suits for the movie. And Mike, as someone who looks at the costumes pretty heavily here, what do you think of these?
I mean, they look pretty cool to me. I saw some internet reaction to these, and I think the one that I can agree with the most is, yep, that's them.
Yep. So, what I first thought is watching the original Ant-Man, seeing like that one-piece kind of loose-fitting suit with the button on his hands, on his thumbs, looked pretty TV budget, and these look more movie quality.
Yeah, it looks like they're pulling out the stops. I've seen... I haven't really indulged any of the conversation out there, but I heard some people were a little upset that they gave Wasp boob cups for her costume. So I haven't really looked into that conversation at all, but I have seen some people that were really smart that noticed if you look at the chest areas of both of the characters, Ant-Man kind of has a little bit of a silhouette of an ant on his chest, and the Wasp has a little bit of a silhouette of a wasp on her chest. So that's actually kind of cool, and I think that's really ingenious, and it's probably something that costume designers instinctually do because they think that stuff is badass, and most people just don't notice. So I'm glad that kind of the internet brought that to my attention.
Yeah, that's cool. What I saw from the Hope Van Dyne controversy is that it's not that they're boob cups, but that it looks like a dick and balls, really pointed right down to the crotch.
Yeah, I heard that too.
And I'm like, have you not seen the original Wasp design? This is exactly from her original comic book design. Like, she's got like a weird front plate, like armor.
Yeah, and also it's just like, that's not a healthy looking dick if that's what that's supposed to be.
Right, so I mean, I think it's a very, very horrible argument. I don't think they're going to change the suits, but overall, I do think the quality of them has increased, and they look much better than the first movie did.
Yeah,
so.
I think the Wasp's helmet is really badass. I love that design to it. It's really cool.
Looks like a motorcycle helmet. I'd wear it.
Yeah, it's cool. We're gonna have to get motorcycles so we can look badass.
No, I'm just getting the helmet, and then like maybe like a little Razor scooter and just scoot around on that. That's what I'm gonna do. Right before this, we watched the sneak peek for Cloak and Dagger that was released this week, which gave us the debut date for this show. Cloak and Dagger will debut June 7th, a summer show at 8 p.m. Eastern with a 2-hour premiere.
Well, all I can say was this sneak peek was a bore fest.
Yeah.
I was like halfway through it, and I was like, is anything going to happen? Because it's not a trailer. It's like a clip from the show. And there's finally a little bit of some special effects magic that happens towards the end. And, like, it wasn't that exciting to me. I was like, how is this supposed to get anyone hyped to watch this show?
Yeah, it's a very slow burn. It felt, I mean, I know this is going on Freeform. It felt a lot like some of the Runaway stuff to me. So it didn't bother me as bad, but I will say the cloak effects, you need to turn the gamma way up on your TV to see that shit. Because like they are making black shadows at night on this dude wearing dark clothing. And I'm like, no, No.
Yeah, I couldn't even see it because there's a moment where their hands meet and Dagger's hand glows white and Cloak's hand, I guess, blows black, and I literally couldn't even see it on my screen, and my brightness was way up. So yeah, my gamma's fucked. I don't know what I'm gonna do, man.
Yeah, well, I don't know. We'll just have to. Hopefully, they tweak it before June 7th. So they're not doing a trailer for this right now. We'll probably get a trailer closer to it. But if you want to check out that scene, it's in our show notes below. Do you watch any Marvel animated shows currently?
You know, I try when I get a chance.
Right, we're big Earth's Mightiest Heroes fans, and when they canceled that to put out Avengers Assemble because of the TV show, I kind of got personally butthurt a little bit about it because Earth's Mightiest Heroes was awesome.
Oh yeah, it was killer.
And the third season was ready to go, and they just pulled the plug. And Avengers Assemble is coming to its own with its own Inhumans arcs and Secret Wars arcs, and it looks cool. But Avengers Assemble, Guardians of the Galaxy, and the new Spider-Man show are reportedly coming to an end, if the people who work there to be believed. There are no renewals yet for these shows before their hiatus, like their animation hiatus, before they come back and start making more episodes. So we don't know where the Marvel animated shows are going, Mike.
Yeah, I mean, usually I would say I'm not surprised because the shelf life for these kind of action-based cartoons are usually very short. You know, you kind of got to be like a comedy animated show to really get, you know, to like SpongeBob levels of seasons and stuff like that. So, you know, if you get about 2 or 3 seasons in, you're usually pretty good, you know, consider that a success, and they're just going to reboot you again to try to get, you know, a fresh set of new kids to buy the toys. But didn't Spider-Man just air?
Spider-Man has not been out a year yet. It'll be after its first season.
Yeah, so that makes me think that maybe there's some sort of strategy that's coming, and there's like, okay, well, Avengers Assemble and Guardians we were going to be canning those anyway. It was time, but I guess let's just refresh everything and just, sorry, Spider-Man. I don't know if maybe the ratings are kind of mediocre, so it, you know, that's just, it was on the chopping block, unfortunately, but you know, I guess, you know, with phase 4 coming up here soon, maybe they just want to kind of synchronize everything and get it going. You know, the TV rights aren't too much of a big deal for animated stuff, but, you know, hey, you know, if Disney did just get the X-Men back, you know, maybe they don't want to lean away from putting those guys in there now. So maybe we will kind of get, you know, in my dream, we will get Earth's Mightiest Heroes season 3, and they'll throw the X-Men in there because they're not too worried about, you know, cross-pollinating anymore. And my fan dreams will come true, and then I'll watch Young Justice season 3 also as well. So I'm going to cross my fingers, Chris, and maybe that'll happen. Just my geek dream.
So from what I have read so far on the news, so Guardians of the Galaxy is still airing its second season. But at D23, they did say it was renewed for a third season. So maybe they're working on season 3 episodes right now, and maybe we don't know about a season 4. But I mean, if that's a little weird. Earth's Mightiest Hero, or not Avengers Assemble, was renewed for a 5th season called Black Panther's Quest. But season 4 of it's still not done yet. But to me, what I'm thinking, Mike, is Disney has a new streaming service coming out next year, right? They when these shows end and wrap up, the next iteration of animated shows will only be able to watch on Disney's streaming service, maybe at first, or their television network.
I can see that.
Might be where they go. And we have another show we're going to talk about later, another animated show that's ending that, you know, is ironically ending the same time all these other shows might be ending, and would be able to have a new version of the show on the streaming service as well, owned by Disney.
All right. So
my theory is streaming service, but seasons 4 or 3 of Guardians and 5 of Avengers Assemble haven't even started yet.
Yeah, I mean, it does. I mean, I guess it might kind of line up, right? Because if they just are going to say, like, okay, you guys are all going to get one more season, put it in production, air it in the fall, it'll end right around, like, early 2019. Avengers 4 will come out. It'll be catastrophic. It'll make tons of freaking money. Everyone's going to rush to the streaming service so they can stream that movie as soon as possible. And then, hey, we're going to have all these new cartoons airing on there, too. So it could be a big juggernaut once that streaming service drops.
Yeah, that's my thoughts. But also, you do bring up a good thing. If they wanted to include the X-Men, which they could totally do in the animated shows, because animated is not following the cinematic universe very well at all.
But they kind of leaned away from it, kind of like when they don't put Deathstroke on TV because he's got a movie coming out. We don't want to confuse people. Because when Wolverine showed up in Earth's Mightiest Heroes, he wasn't Wolverine, he was Logan. So
but also at the same time, I know that I like Black Bolt and Avengers Assemble way more than the one they put in the fucking TV show. So I don't know. We'll see. We have a lot of questions.
Yeah, I don't know if you saw before we hopped on the show, but I saw that Inhumans was officially canceled.
No official word. There's no. I double checked. There's no official word, but it is off their press. I guess outlets this spring. They're not mentioning it, but it's a sure sign it's almost dead. But there's nothing official until May 23rd. I'm doing air quotes up here.
So it sounds like it's not looking good either way.
No, it's not looking good any way you cut it. But not until they say it's done. Well, I totally believe it's done.
All right.
my hope is they bring it in the Shield. If they can bring him in the Shield for a couple episodes, give me a good wrap up, I'd be pretty happy. But
all right, I think
probably
that's
not going to happen.
I think that's fair.
Toy Story 4, we got some news here, some interesting news. Stephanie Folsom has been brought on to write the script for Toy Story 4. To replace Rashida Jones and Will McCormick, the writing team who left earlier, last year. Mm-hmm. Stephanie Folsom received an uncredited Thor Ragnarok writing credit. So she didn't receive it, I guess. She's uncredited on Thor Ragnarok due to guild regulations. The writing guild wouldn't give her credit for some reason. I don't know why.
Probably something to do with pages or time or I don't know.
Yeah, but she Marvel did give her a story credit on Thor Ragnarok, which was my favorite movie of last year. So Stephanie Folsom's moving her way right through the Disney family here.
Yeah, I don't know how I feel about Toy Story 4 still. Pixar is not the perfect movie studio like it used to be, but Toy Story is still a perfect franchise. All of the movies are amazing, so I don't think we need Toy Story 4. But over the holidays, I've never really seen any of the Toy Story shorts that have shown up for holiday specials. Mm-hmm. But over the holidays, with my family, we did watch the one where there's those dinosaur action figures. I don't know if you've seen it.
Yeah, the toy that time forgot or something like that.
Yeah, and I was like, hey, this is really good. I guess maybe more Toy Story isn't as bad as I think it's going to be, but I don't know. I'm on a wobbly ground with Toy Story 4, but it seems like they're pushing forward.
Well, I think Stephanie Folsom's great because a new writer in here. I believe the director of the other Toy Story movies is taking a break from Pixar. So this might be a chance for Toy Story to become something else, and do some good. Right now, I think it's pegged to come out 2019. But if they're rewriting the script from right now, I think they're gonna need a little more time. So
yeah,
I might expect this one to get pushed back.
Those movies take a while to make.
Yeah, and they've come a long way. You watch Toy Story 1 and Toy Story 3 back to back, you're like, oh, they have really upped their computer game here. So
up the polygons.
Yeah, you mentioned Toy Stories are some of the best rated films of all time. Uh-huh. If you go to Rotten Tomatoes, you're sure to find a Toy Story movie in the top ratings. However, as of right now, a new movie has taken over the number one slot on Rotten Tomatoes as the highest rated movie ever.
Is it Paddington?
It's Paddington 2, 156 fresh, no rottens. So
have you seen any of the Paddington movies? Because I haven't.
I have not either. I remember growing up watching Paddington Bear, the animated VHSs, but not the live action movies.
I just think it's hilarious because I have no ill will towards Paddington. I just think it's hilarious that this kind of cute, cuddly CG bear that I think when the first trailer came out for the first Paddington movie, people were a little unnerved because it was kind of a highly realistic bear rendered in the real world. But I guess people got past it because people are loving Paddington too. And I know some people myself out here who do a lot of critical Hollywood entertainment reporting, and they were over the hill about Paddington as well. So I'm shocked.
Yeah. So it was Toy Story 2 was the highest rated movie until the movie Lady Bird came out a couple months ago. Mm-hmm. Then Lady Bird got one bad review and pushed it down, and now Paddington 2 is sitting at the top. So maybe I got to sit down and watch me these Paddington movies back to back, man.
Maybe we got to do do a Paddington spoiler cast.
No. Cut it out. So,
there's going to be a Paddington cinematic universe now, man. We got to get in. We got to see what other franchises can we fold into Paddington. You know, I've heard some shaky ground is going on with the Hasbro cinematic universe. So let's get those Micronauts or whatever they're called into the Paddington universe and just see the hell what happens.
I'm gonna branch out. You ever see the cartoon series Madeline?
I'm familiar, yeah.
We bring Madeline to life. We animate her in our little orphanage in France and bring them into the Paddington universe.
Oh, man, we're really expanding this universe. I like it. So I think we just need one more addition. Let's go ahead and throw Bumblebee in there because apparently he's the only thing that can survive the Transformers legacy. Yeah. So let's get Paddington driving it around in a Camaro. Madeline can be in the back seat in a child seat because I'm not too sure how old Madeline is, and I don't think she's allowed to be in the passenger seat. I think it's too dangerous for her. But and then we throw in a Micronaut somewhere. I still don't know what a Micronaut is, but it's just going to be somewhere in that car.
They build a universe in the engine of Bumblebee, and that's what keeps him running. It's like the Rick and Morty episode.
Oh my god.
The micro universe.
We are on to something here, Chris.
Yeah, but we're going to put him in England, so Bumblebee has to drive on the other side of the road, so his car's split.
Oh my god. A place he's never been before, the other side of the road.
Yeah, except whenever he was in World War II, apparently. I don't know. Anyway, I had lunch with my parents today, and you know what was on TV?
What was on TV?
Indiana
Chris?
Jones and the Last Crusade, and I really enjoy that movie. I really like it. I did not know how long the intro was before you see Harrison Ford. It's a good movie, and it holds up, Mike.
Yeah, it's been a while since I think I've analytically watched the Indiana Jones movies. I've seen them plenty of times. I watched them a ton as a kid. I loved them, and my favorite was always The Last Crusade. I really dug Sean Connery in the movie, and I thought it was a more fun adventure movie, which I think what kids really glom onto. So I think if I watched them again, I would hope that one would still be my favorite.
Yeah, I had a good time with it. And if you like Indiana Jones movies, Steven Spielberg might make the 5th Indiana Jones his next movie. He's shopping around some ideas, and that's his next one of his next 2 options. I forget what the other one was, but it didn't sound very entertaining to me.
I don't know. Are you gonna kill off Indy?
I don't know. Everyone's always talked about Chris Pratt being the new Indiana Jones and taking it over. So I don't know the story. I just know that if he says I want to do Indiana Jones 5, they got to do it now before Harrison Ford kills himself, like on an airplane, like crash or something like that. So I don't know. Even if they killed him off, they might do an origin movie for him, much like they're doing with Solo, the Star Wars story, Mike.
I see what you're doing here. You're trying to transition into more news.
I am. I got more news. So a trailer for Han Solo's movie will probably be released this week. It's a rumor, but from someone who's repeatedly gotten everything right on trailer releases.
All right.
It will be placed with, not attached. They were very specific that it was not attached to the Maze Runner. So I
don't think a lot of people want to be buying tickets to Maze Runner just to watch this trailer.
Yeah, I don't think so either. But I have heard good things about the Maze Runner movie. I don't know. You mentioned you wanted to see him, and this is the 3rd one. So
yeah, for some weird reason, I kind of want to watch him. I don't know. I haven't seen any of them yet, but it kind of slightly piques my interest. I don't know.
A lot of action in these. But they said it will be online probably Wednesday, if they were to bet when it would drop on the internet. So
all right.
We may be talking about the Han Solo movie next week. However, there's this trade show and this EPK reel sneak peek from someone who promises that there's a lot of fan service in this movie, but it feels like an old Star Wars movie.
Well, I mean, to be honest, the whole movie's fan service. It's Han Solo, one of the most iconic characters in the Star Wars universe. If you're making a whole movie about him, everything's going to be fan service. I mean, I think we're going to talk about the synopsis here in a second, but even the synopsis says, like, hey, listen to this fan service synopsis.
Yeah, so the people who saw this electronic press kit reel were pretty excited about it. But again, everyone's always excited about Star Wars whenever new Star Wars stuff launches. But the synopsis is, board the Millennium Falcon and journey to a galaxy far, far away in Solo, a Star Wars story. An all-new adventure with the most beloved scoundrel in the galaxy. Through a series of daring escapades deep within a dark and dangerous criminal underworld, Han Solo meets his mighty future co-pilot, Chewbacca, and encounters the notorious gambler Lando Calrissian in a journey that will set the course of one of the Star Wars saga's most unlikely heroes.
There you go. You got Millennium Falcon, Chewbacca, Lando Calrissian. There's probably going to be the Kessel running there somewhere. That's all fan service.
This should have been called the Millennium Falcon, the movie, because it sounds like that is the highlight of this show so far.
You know what? You know what's so funny? Han Solo, for my entire life, has always been described as a scoundrel. But, you know, he becomes the hero or a hero in the Star Wars stories very quickly. We never really get to see him be a scoundrel. He's just kind of like a little bit schmarmy. And I guess in the past he made some sort of maybe bad deal with Jabba the Hutt, but I've never really seen him be a scoundrel. So
he did shoot Greedo first.
Yeah, I guess
that's it. That's about all we got, though.
I think Greedo deserved it, though. He was a little scoundrel himself.
Hey, green alien lives matter, Mike.
Was he green or was he kind of off blue?
I've seen both. So
depend on what remastered version you're watching. But
yeah, are you watching? I don't know. The Cloak and Dagger version? Then it's a whole different colors.
What gamma are you running when you're watching it?
Yeah,
but
exactly.
I don't know. Maybe we'll actually get to see him be a scoundrel. Do I want to see him be a scoundrel? I think I just want to see him be clever and dashing and
he's probably going to be a smug, charming, like smuggler. Yeah, smug smuggler. Yeah, exactly.
Smug smuggler. All right.
And then we get an official look at the logo, Mike. Look at that logo.
Wow.
How unsurprising is it?
Looks like a Star Wars logo. There you go.
It says Solo. I bet a fan made this up months ago, and like Star Wars, like, we'll take it.
Yeah.
So it's very, very unassuming. Star Wars Rebels is the show I was talking about earlier, Mike. The last final season 4 episode trailer means it's like the back half of season 4 is coming out this year, and they got a trailer for it. I haven't watched enough to know what's going on in it, but if it's ending in season 4 right before a new Disney streaming service is coming out, we might see some of these animated Star Wars shows, which do really well, pop up on that streaming service.
Yeah, maybe. I mean, I've heard good things about the show. I haven't watched it, but, you know, if it's all condensed somewhere on a streaming service, maybe I'll give it a shot.
Yeah, I watched the first season and maybe a quarter of season 2. I'm not into it as much as I am the Clone Wars, which was fantastic, but it's got some good stuff in there. I like the lore. It's got some good lore in it. Remember that Bride of Frankenstein movie we thought they weren't going to make?
Oh, the Dark Universe movie?
Yeah, the Dark Universe. Apparently, there was only script production that didn't stop. It was everything else production-wise stopped on this movie. But they're back to pre-production stage on Bride of Frankenstein with Javier Bardem still expected to play Frankenstein's monster.
Oh, man, I wonder if maybe this was a weird decision of just like, hey, Javier Bardem's attached. He's still a really big get. You know, let's just maybe tweak the script a little bit so it doesn't have to create a whole franchise, and maybe let's just make a good Bride of Frankenstein movie and see what goes there. You know, they were pretty confident when they in both directions of starting the universe and ending the universe. So maybe this is just kind of like a soft like toe into the water of just like, you know, hey, maybe the bath is warm now. It wasn't warm for the mummy, but maybe it warmed up now.
Well, if that is true, this would be the third attempt at this universe with I think Dracula Untold being the first attempt that was in revamped into the mummy, and then like, okay, now we need to revamp it again. So
yeah, let's just not mention I Frankenstein.
yeah. They just got to do something. Get them while we have the actors under contract. That's what I'm thinking here. The Men in Black spinoff that nobody asked for is moving right along with a new release date of May 17th, 2019.
Boo! I don't care unless I hear the words 21 Jump Street somewhere in there, and that's not what I'm hearing, Chris.
No, it's not. They definitely didn't do that. That's a crossover. This is a spinoff.
I want that crossover so bad.
But they're looking to put this out next year, 1 week after the potential Gambit release date and the week before Toy Story 4. This movie would not stand a chance at all. So
I guess if it's a spinoff, you're not going to have Will Smith in it. They're probably going to try to reboot this universe. They probably are trying to whip up a new trilogy off of Men in Black's lineage. I don't care. I just want to see Jonah Hill and Channing Tatum try to fight aliens, because that would be funny.
I'm definitely against that. So we'll see what they've got to start work on it sooner than later to hit that May release date. So we'll keep you posted if something good comes out, and then we're going to watch the Tomb Raider trailer right here for everybody, because a new Tomb Raider trailer came out, and people have said that this looks like it could break the video game curse in movies, and I'm like, I don't believe you. So
yeah, we'll have to wait, because that first trailer did not impress me at all. So
yeah, I'm on the same page. So we're gonna queue it up right now. You're gonna get our live reactions. I'll probably trim most of it out, but you ready to go, Mike?
Yeah, let's do a countdown to hit play.
All right, 3, 2, 1, go.
Well, it looks like we saw some tomb raiding in that trailer.
I definitely agree. It's like any other movie where you have a bad guy who's like, open up the tomb, I don't know how, but you do. National Treasure vibe going on to it. So.
Yeah, I mean, I think this trailer was much better than the other one that we got. It seemed to give off a little bit of a different tone. Seems a little less generic, I would say, than I thought it would be. But I'm trying to figure out what exactly do I grab onto in this movie, that excites me, because it seems like a Lara Croft kind of verse nature. I mean, I don't really care about verse the bad guys, because, there's not really a whole lot special going on there. I'm not saying I need superpowers or something supernatural, but usually if you're looking at human verse nature, usually it's a little bit more of a gripping tale of alone in the wilderness, trying to survive, no humans around. I'm just trying to figure out like what really draws me into the story here. I don't know. And also you have this whole aspect of tombs in general. Like it's always really been hard for me to believe all of these sophisticated contraptions of tombs in any movie I ever watch. So usually you kind of got to go light on all of those things, because I believe it in a video game that there would be all these mechanics, but like, how do all these giant rock gears work in the real world? So I don't really know if they're going to find a way to explain that or not. But I mean, I was never really super invested in the video game franchise to begin with, so I don't know if I'm going to run to see this. I almost have the exact same opinions that I have about the Assassin's Creed trailer when that came out. I didn't really play the games that much, not super invested. I hope it works out, because it'd be kind of cool maybe if we get a video game renaissance, but I don't know, man.
Yeah, so to me, I think that the highlight of this is Destiny Child's Survivor playing in that remix is definitely a highlight of this. Well, I didn't play many Tomb Raiders beyond the second one. I do have to say there's something about the way they show people get, like, the impacts and hits in this trailer look way, I don't know, like you kind of feel them a little bit more than just a generic movie would. There's a moment where she jumps over and lands on a tree right before falling into a river, and you're like, oh, she's gonna land on that tree, and no, she just hits it face first and flips her around and throws her into the water. And the same thing, it looks like she has a parachute and swings through some trees. The impacts feel like video game, I guess, but I do agree that the less we have of this evil organization, the better. Laura versus nature is where it should be.
Yeah. Now, what would be cool if they went very brutal with the movie in the aspect of basically body damage. So I remember when the new Lara Croft video game kind of came out, maybe 2 or 3 years ago, people were just like, oh, it's so brutal the way she dies. Like, they really try to make it seem like she's going through a lot of pain when she gets hurt in the video game. So, and I've seen plenty of like action, movies where like when the hero's a dude, by the end of the movie, he's literally like a bloody mess. Think John McClane in Die Hard. They usually seem to not do that with women in movies. They kind of want to keep them pretty. So like, screw it. Like, just make her just a badass, and by the end of the movie, she's just like bleeding everywhere. Heck, maybe a bone's popping out of her arm and she's just like beat to hell, and that would be kind of cool. And then she rallies from that and she just comes back in the sequel ready to get her ass kicked again but prevail. So that would be kind of cool. Like was it Alicia Vikander? Is that her name?
Yep.
Isn't she like Oscar nominated or winning? Yeah,
I believe she was in the movie about, she was a robot.
Ex Machina, was
that?
Yeah,
Ex Machina, I believe so. Yeah.
Yeah. So I mean, hopefully she can bring the acting chops. But yeah, like I'm not too invested in this video game movie, but we'll see how it pans out. I mean, it seems pretty straightforward. I mean, they're making like, you know, a Nathan Drake Uncharted style game that's basically all just variations of Indiana Jones. So I don't think it's going to be hard to pull off, you know.
Yeah, I don't either. I think to me this looks like it could be you could probably remove the phrase Tomb Raider and it would still be an okay movie, and I think that's kind of where you need to do it. So hopefully we see something there. We'll knock on wood here. I think I remember the last movie I saw her in actually was it Jason Bourne, and she wasn't very good in that. So hopefully, but she was like a CIA, like a desk operative, and I'm like, no, honey. So we'll see what goes on. But yeah, I don't know. We'll see. We'll definitely have to see how this plays out and keep people posted. I think it's coming out later this year, sooner than later. So we'll take a look. That's all our notes for this week, Mike. We made it through another week of news. Finally, we are ever closer to more, I guess, review episodes. We got Black Panther coming up, and some other stuff. So I'm excited for those. You just recently actually did some artwork for your friend's podcast using your artwork. Where can people find some of your artwork at?
Yeah, if people want to see what I'm up to, they can follow me at Mike Royer Design on Instagram and Twitter, and you can read my webcomics at pickledcomics.com. Chris, if people want to catch up with you, see what you're doing, where can they follow you?
You can find me on Twitter at Valdan, Valdan. We just watched Thor, the first Thor movie for our countdown to Infinity War this week, so next weekend's Captain America. And you can head over to Comic UI and see that list of what we're doing there, or head over to YouTube and search the DNN and see what videos I'm up to there. If people want to learn more about Superhero Slate and what we're doing, where can people find us at?
Well, as always, please visit superheroslate.com. That's the best place to find all the avenues that we host our show here and to get our show notes. So if you want to check out the link to the Ant-Man and the Wasp images, or if you want to see that deleted Instagram post, we got a link to that. So that's what the show notes are for, and that's awesome. So you can get that at superheroslate.com, and you can also find us on iTunes, YouTube, Google Play Music, SoundCloud, Stitcher. You can get us right in your email inbox every week if you want to do that. You can like us on Facebook and follow us on Twitter and Instagram. You can get some merch for the show, some Superhero Slate merch at superheroslate.com/store. If you're a fan of the show, we'd really appreciate it if you left us a review wherever you listen to the show. Really appreciate that. It really gets our jimmies rustled in the best possible way. So we really love that. And if you want to be a super fan of the show, all you got to do, share the show with a friend, share the show with a buddy, and we will be here every week, whether the government is open or not.
All right, yeah. Whether they shut down or not, we'll be here. Snow day. We had snow days last week, Mike. So snow, rain, sunshine, whatever you want, we'll be here. So I guess we'll see you guys next week.
All right, goodbye, everybody.
Thanks for listening, and don't forget to subscribe.
Bar's real low this week for Mike.